Welcome to the So Much More podcast, where we talk with people in the custom window treatment, soft home furnishings industry, and so much more. I'm your host, Seal DeGuglielmo.
My guest on the podcast today is Marianne Henderson. She refers to herself as a wife and loving mother of 3 wonderful children. She has twins, a boy and a girl, or a man and a woman because they're in their late 30s, and her youngest son turning 30 soon. As far back as she can remember, she loved to sew and make her own Barbie clothes, and she'll share about that little escapade in her life. As she got older, she wanted to make her own clothes, and she would save her allowance to buy fabric and patterns. She finally took one sewing class in junior high, and the rest was self-taught. She really did want to go on to fashion design, but she was set on another path, and she worked in the accounting field for close to 30 years. It paid the bills, but it was never her passion. While at a part-time bookkeeping job and making some custom soft furnishings for a local furniture store, she had an opportunity to reupholster a child's chair, and she fell in love with the whole process and realized this is what she was meant to be doing her entire life. She has spent over 12 years learning all about upholstery and recently has started to learn more about window treatments. Marianne spent the last 12 years learning about upholstery, starting with YouTube videos, all the books she could find, and Kim's Upholstery website. I really hope that you enjoy hearing from Marianne today.
Just a quick note from me. My audio is not terrific in this particular recording with Marianne, and I did the best that I know how to do to fix it. I'm still not 100% thrilled with how it turned out. So while I'm still learning a little bit more about audio improvement, I hope you will bear with me in this podcast. Thanks.
Marianne, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And it's funny because I forget sometimes that I don't actually know people. I just have seen what they've posted on Facebook or in the library forum or things like that. And you're one of those people that I feel like I know you from some of the responses that you've made and the way you've helped other people out. So I try to be careful and not assume anything when I don't actually know someone very well. Why don't we start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are in the world, and a little bit about your business?
Okay. My name is Marianne Henderson. I live in California in the Central Valley, Stockton. My business is in Lodi. I'm a wife and mother of 3. I have twins, girl-boy twins, that were going to be 38 this year, and my youngest is going to be 30. I have my 60th birthday coming up here in October, which, boy, a lot has changed in these last, 12 years since I've been in my business. I have sewn all my life, as far back as I can remember. My grandmother, she taught me how to knit, crochet. My mother had a sewing machine in her bedroom that I used to have to sneak into to go and use. Oh yeah, it had some stuff on it. I remember I would have to clear that off of it. It was an old Sears Kenmore. I'd lift up the lid real quietly and I'd make my little Barbie clothes. And then I would real quick, I'd always get busted. It never mattered. I always got busted because she would hear the machine going.
But you've been going back and using it anyway, so you couldn't have gotten into too much trouble.
That part I don't remember.
You blocked it out.
I blocked it out because I loved sewing so much and the creative part of it that it was worth it. It really was worth it getting into trouble. So
how did you turn this into a business?
Well, for 30 years I was in bookkeeping and accounting, and I was doing a part-time bookkeeping job for a furniture company, local here in Stockton. And the owner was having me make some pillows on the side. And her employee at the time, who now actually owns the store, asked if I could reupholster a child's chair for him. And I looked at it and I said, let me try. Mm-hmm. And I did it. it took me a little bit, to figure it out. I started searching the internet for videos and that. And once I got it done, he then also had me make a slipcover for it so that they can throw that off and wash it. Whole nother process, but I fell in love. Mm-hmm. And so from there out, I just have been trying to, I was part of Kim Chagnon's DIY group for a long time. And I just find all the videos that I can on upholstery work. Okay.
So your former boss actually helped you find this new passion.
Exactly. Oh, yes. Yeah. And I credit him all the time. Well, so he was the employee, but he's now the owner of the business. And I work very close with him on a lot of projects. I do a lot of work for them, and I've been very fortunate in that.
Okay. All right. So how did you go from doing some side jobs to making this your business?
My dad and his partners had a warehouse that they would store their toys, their motorhomes and trailers in. And it had some office space. So there were it was one big giant back room, and then there were two other offices. So my dad asked if I wanted to, rent that from them. And because I had a small sewing room that was actually one of the kids that left the house. I was sewing in that, and it just was too small. So I went over and looked at it, and we agreed, okay, $400 a month. And it grew from there.
Okay. I'm curious about your background contributing to how you ran this business. I'm always curious about that, especially the number of years that you were working in an accounting background. Did you create a business plan before you got started? Did you say, I can afford $400 a month, let's go?
It was funny because I've always had the creative mind, and I only did bookkeeping and accounting because, having kids, it quote unquote paid the bills. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted to turn my sewing into a business. When I got out of high school, I wanted to go to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in San Francisco. And it ended up I got accepted. I applied, accepted. And about 2 weeks beforehand, a gentleman that I had been dating, we had gotten engaged, and he told me he did not want me to go. And so there went that dream. And then I ended up just working for his mother, who then taught me bookkeeping. And then I just had, bookkeeping jobs from there.
Mm-hmm. I hear that a lot from my guests about postponing dreams. And yet I still feel like sometimes, it didn't crush your dream. It just pushed it aside for a little while.
Exactly. Yes. Because looking back, I see that I was not ready. I know that I wasn't ready back then. I loved sewing. I had a passion for it, and kept being told, okay, you can't make a career out of this. Well, I just kind of put it off. And then until finally 12 years ago, I can make it, and I have made a career out of it. And I love it.
For support of it. You can do it.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So were you still working full time when you decided to open this business, or did you make a break and say, I'm going to make a go of this? How did that work for you?
My husband had started his own contracting company in the Bay Area. And for the first 2.5 years, I was going into San Jose with him and doing this. And so I was kind of doing it part-time. And I just got so tired of getting up at 3:00 in the morning, driving with him. And he does not like traffic, and that was not a fun ride. So I started kind of doing the bookkeeping thing. And then from there, they started, once I started watching videos, and I bought so much furniture to teach myself how to do these things. I got so busy that I've never been able to do any of the pieces that I have bought.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. I have this beautiful space now that I'm in, 1,400 square feet. I've got a mezzanine full of all the furniture that I've been collecting throughout the years. And I've only reupholstered one.
Okay.
And it's still sitting out there, as a matter of fact. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that because you never ended up using those as practice or learning pieces.
No.
I shouldn't get to your own work because that happens to all of us. But the fact that you had deliberately purchased these pieces to learn the trade and then got so busy. So tell me a little bit about the learning process for you. I know how valuable Kim's Upholstery is as a resource for
yes,
and she always encourages people who are starting at the DIY level to, in fact, do it as professionally as possible. But you had pieces set aside to practice and teach yourself to learn, but now you've got real jobs coming in. Were you ever anxious about that fact that this was not anything you could make a mistake on, or you're making a face that people can't?
I can't say. Yeah, I know they can't see the face. I was scared to death. I mean, the first 2 years of doing this, I really was scared to death. I mean, I was always worried that, yes, I would make a mistake on somebody's furniture. And fortunately, I had a lot of friends who were using my services, either to make pillows or to reupholster, some vintage pieces. I had a lot of friends, they do a lot of vintage and kind of French country. So it's kind of easy. So you can make it look sloppy and it would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't my style, but it ended up working out that way. And with every single piece, I just got better and got better.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things that helped me, I think, the most, in Ken's group, I reached out to my friend Deanna, who has Sophisticated Upholstery. She was here in California in Roseville, which was only just a couple of, I think, 45 minutes really from where I'm at. I reached out to her and introduced myself, and I said, I'm in the group, and we've become friends. I mean, this has been, I think, 7-8 years ago.
Okay.
And that really helped because I just did these things. She's that type of person who she wants to know why. And so we kind of feed off of each other.
Yeah.
So I have the practical knowledge on a lot of stuff, but then she's like, okay, well, why? Well, then I got to think about it.
Right, because if you can't answer that question, you may not know it as deeply as you think you do.
Exactly. Yes.
If you can answer it, you're like, I knew the answer to
that. Yeah. There's times when I can't, I just like, take it to the group because that one I don't know.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what your business is today. Are you to the trade? Are you retail? Are you a combination? How are you finding your customers?
Everything is, I am both. I am to the trade, and then I also do some wholesale. I have 4 different designers that I work with. I did have a lot more, but I am just one person, and it's hard because some of them have kind of moved out of town, and I just can't, go and measure a job that's in Santa Cruz, which is, a couple hours away. So fortunately, she's found somebody in her area. I've done a lot of upholstery work, cushions and stuff like that. I have done some crazy jobs, things that I really should have said no, but I wanted to learn and tackle those. And I've recently, because we had a drapery workroom owner here in Lodi pass away. She's passed away. I think it's been 3 years now. So I'm starting to add window coverings to what I'm doing. And I'm finding it as I'm getting older, sofas are getting a little bit too heavy. So draperies are kind of adding, are a really good, easy, or not easy because I hated them for so long. I didn't understand them. I could not figure out spaces and the pleats. I just couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't figure those out. fortunately. Workroom channel, Ann Johnson's video. I just sat there and watched that over and over and over until I got it. So,
yeah, I love that you ventured into the window treatment part of it. I knew that you had started to do that a little while ago. So I'm curious about, and I agree with you. First of all, I took some upholstery classes and realized that I am not cut out to be an upholsterer. I have worked on my hand strength since I first started doing that. I've done some small upholstery work. I've never done a sofa. I've done some slip covers. That's not upholstery, but I've done slip chairs and I've done a few items. It's a whole journey and industry in its own, and it's not it's not the same as window treatments. But there are times that I've taken the skills from one side to the other that I've been working, but learning to do window treatments is another whole venture.
It is, yes.
Okay.
And I'm still in the process of learning. I mean, I've now, like I said, mastered the spaces and plates. I do Roman shades, cornice boards, which because I do have woodworking in my back. I took woodworking in high school, so that makes it easy working with power tools.
It's a little closer to upholstery when you do cornice.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you're by yourself. You're in a location outside of your home. You're not in your home.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a beautiful shop. I'm very lucky to have a building. It's got the office building, and then it's got a whole shop outside.
Oh,
so
nice.
my workroom is in the office area, and then I've got the whole shop for all my other stuff.
All those things you haven't done yet.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. I love that at this point in your business, you're still learning new things and adding to your business. Mm-hmm. What are some of the biggest challenges of running your own business?
Is say no to projects. That has been the hardest thing because I'm a people pleaser. And so I always wanted to, say yes to projects, one, to learn.
Right.
And two, it just was like a satisfaction.
Okay.
Once it was completed and once I kind of, got through it, I felt really good.
Okay. Marianne, is there anything unusual or odd that you've ever created?
There is. I have a friend who has these ice cream vending trailers. And he came to me and he asked if I could make the top of it, which was a glow. You puff it up with air. He's got air, and it's like an ice cream top. I've got pictures of it on my, oh yes. This thing was huge. It stands about 20 feet tall when it is fully blown up.
And what did you make it out of?
I researched, and Trivantage had a fabric that it was luminous. So because it has a light behind it. So in the evening, you can see the actual cone part from a distance.
Okay.
So the original fabric I couldn't find, but it was like a real it was a vinyl type fabric.
Okay. And is it on your website or your Instagram account?
It is on my Instagram. I do need to put it on my website. I should do that, but I'm afraid people will ask me to do it.
I can understand that. I wouldn't put it on my website. I'd leave it on Instagram and leave it alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Have you ever considered quitting?
There's been 2 times.
Only
only 2. Yes, only 2. I had moved from the one warehouse into my new space, I've been here now 6 years, and I had a customer. It's been because of 2 customers. Okay. I had one lady. I did 2 chairs for her. I had them here, looked perfect, I thought. Took them to her house. She was very dissatisfied with the work. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, what can I do to make it better? And it seemed no matter what I did, she was not going to be happy. And then she came here to my shop because I had redid what she wanted me to do, which was basically nothing. I had her come and look in my shop, sign off on them. And she says, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. I took upholstery. I know how to upholstery, but I just didn't want to do these. So I just politely said, that's very interesting. And I'm glad to know that. Thank you. Took him back to her house. She was still not satisfied. And to the point where I said, you came and signed off on them, not 7 hours ago. And she did not want to pay me. And that's
what it boiled down to. She didn't want to pay.
Exactly. Yes. And so at that point, it was so defeating because she just laid into me, and I took pictures of everything that I did. And I looked at them and I, showed my friends and I go, okay, what's wrong with these? They said, nothing. They're perfect. I said, thank you. Okay. But why is it? I just couldn't please this lady. And I had another gentleman, the same type of thing. He kept making comments about, well, okay, this isn't right. This isn't right. This isn't right. Fortunately, I took pictures ahead of time of everything that I did. And I showed him, this is exactly what you said you wanted. This is exactly how it was prior to me picking it up. Right. It's just the fact that it's a lighter fabric and you're seeing now it being more pronounced than what it was in the past. And yeah, he was another one who put down my work and just made me, not feel good, but that's the only 2 times. Otherwise, okay.
How'd you get past that?
I went on to the next job. It bothered me for about a day. And then I thought, people tell me, no, you're good. You're very good at what you do. We have nobody like you in this area. So I just kept going on to the next project and on to the next project and
the next satisfied customer too.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I know, Marianne, that sometimes it's the negative comments and it's the unpleasant clients who remain in our heads far longer than they should.
Yes.
So I'm curious. Just go on to the next one. I like that.
Yeah.
I want to jump in and take a moment to thank the sponsors who make it possible for me to bring you the podcast each week. My sponsors are people in the industry that I have personally had a connection to, purchased from, or used their services. So it makes it really easy for me to tell you about them and the great things that they have to offer. Because I feel so strongly about education in our industry, I'm thrilled that as the owner of the Curtains and Soft Furnishings Resource Library, I can use the resources of the library to help support the podcast. The library hosts the industry's largest curated collection of educational resources for the custom home furnishings professional. Membership to the library gives you access to a wealth of downloadable reference materials, videos, live events, as well as a community of support to help you develop your design, sales, and fabrication skills, and to grow or start a business. Join the library today at csfrl.org. Angels Linings would like to invite you to become part of their family. With reputable lining comes exceptional customer service. Trust them with your linings like I do. You get 2 Tootsie Pops with every bolt of lining you receive. For smiles, satisfaction, and a sugar kick all around, call Angels Linings at 1-800-450-9368. The Workroom Channel is the premier online training provider for professional fabrication skills. Go to theworkroomchannel.com to browse the selection of anytime access courses created by industry experts. Watch detailed demonstration videos, download companion materials, and participate in private course discussion boards with your instructor and classmates from around the world. Start your course path today at theworkroomchannel.com. If you've listened to the podcast, you know how much I've learned from Michelle Williams. And I think most of my guests have mentioned taking at least one of her classes or gotten coaching from her. Her business is Scarlet Thread Consulting. Michelle loves to work with creative business owners to help them understand all aspects of their business and to use their gifts and talents to make it profitable. Michelle is a strategic profitability coach certified in the Profit First methodology, and she can be reached at scarletthreadconsulting.com. I've also mentioned my membership with the WCAA, and I'm now a gold level sponsor, where education, networking, visibility, and industry discounts are just a few of the benefits that are offered to our members. The Window Covering Association of America is the only national nonprofit trade association that's dedicated to the window coverings industry and the dealers, decorators, workrooms, designers, and installers that make up our membership. Join today at WCAA.org. WCAA, where you are never in business alone. I've also been extremely fortunate to be able to work with Merrill Y. Landis Ltd. It's a family-owned and operated custom workroom and product distribution company to the trade with over 70 years of experience. And in addition to their custom work, they offer a wide variety of decorative drapery hardware. They offer stout and flare 21 fabrics. They have Roman shade operating systems and assembly kits. They have motorization and workroom supplies, and they serve both designers and workrooms. And you can check out the MYL Advantage at mylLTD.com.
What is your definition of success, Marianne?
Just being happy in what you do. And for a long time, I didn't think that I was successful, but I have repeat customers. I have people who just absolutely love my work. They want to learn from me. And so I guess that's success.
I agree. What's been your greatest success so far?
Let's see, a year and a half into doing this, I have some friends who are contractors, and they came to me and asked me about doing a 9 foot by 14 foot, 9 foot high by 14 foot wide tufted headboard.
Oh my.
Oh yes. Yeah. And I had never done tufting before. 354 buttons to be exact. I still remember that number. I will never forget that. I thought, okay, sure, I can do this, no problem. Watch the videos on button tufting, and I said, okay, it's not too difficult. I get, 90% done with it. And I am maybe a yard and a half short of fabric on the end. And so had to learn how to then, I didn't have the accounts at the time, started setting up accounts, got the fabric overnighted, was able to get it all done. And when the contractors put it in, they actually had someone come out and professionally photograph it. And it is stunning. I mean, to see this whole thing in place, it was stunning. I wish I knew back then what I know now, because I would have used smaller buttons because it would have looked better. That's just one thing that bothers me about it. But otherwise, it is stunning.
Yeah, and the contractors and the final client were really happy with it.
Yeah, they were happy with it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent 32 hours straight working on it because we had a small window from the time the contractors had to pick it up because it was raining. It had stopped raining. So we were kind of, gauging when they could come and pick it up and then go install it. So I locked myself in my shop, and 32 hours it took me to do it.
And how long did you sleep afterwards?
I slept that day, and then I was back at it the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Probably focusing more on window coverings than upholstery.
Okay.
I mean, definitely. I'm still going to do chairs. I'll do cushions and slipcovers, but the heavy, I just stopped doing sofas because they're just getting too heavy for me. I did 2 very huge sectionals, And it's like, okay, nope, I'm done.
Do you have any plans to hire people, or do you prefer?
I have asked around. We've got a junior college in Stockton, and they have like a fashion program, but the young girls don't want to listen, unfortunately, because I thought that would be a great place because they're learning. They don't want to listen to instructions. They just want to do what they want to do.
Be creative in their own way and not.
Yes.
Well, hopefully somebody will come along that does want to listen.
I hope so. I don't know. I may or may not. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm open to it. I'm always open. If somebody asks me, I will address it. But at this point, no one.
Okay. I'm always intrigued because we can make our businesses whatever we want them to be. Mm-hmm. And working by yourself at a pace that works for you is what you want. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes when I ask that question, do you have any intentions of hiring anybody? Doesn't mean you should. It means you should be doing exactly what you want in your business. And I love
exactly. Yes.
for ourselves in this area. So just from our conversation about people saying things to you about your work and noticing things about this beautiful headboard, I'm really anxious to hear the answer to this question. How do you handle it when you make a mistake or there's a failure of some kind?
I turn it into a learning experience.
Okay.
That's all I can do now. I mean, in the beginning, I was more critical because I was, now I am comfortable with what I'm doing. And if I do make mistakes, I'm human. I know myself. I am still going to make mistakes, and I still do, but I don't let them get to me. I figure out, okay, how am I going to fix this? And I move on.
Okay. It's always interesting to me to hear how people handle that. And I do think making it a learning experience is the best thing that we can do. We just do what's best for ourselves. That's the problem.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to let it get to me anymore. Life is too short to do that.
Yeah. There are some benefits to getting closer to your 60th birthday, Marianne, and that's one of them. I'm here to tell you.
Yes. Yes.
I'm starting to recognize I've got less left in front of me than I have behind me, and some things just are not worth it.
Exactly. Yes.
So I'm curious, obviously Kim's Upholstery was a big contribution to your education. Were there any other books or classes or things that you've investigated or learned from?
Yes. Cynthia. I can never say her last name.
Leskacek.
Thank you. Okay. Cynthia, because I was heartbroken when she decided to stop doing upholstery work. I feel grateful. I mean, she is such a wonderful teacher. She knows, and she does have her videos on the Workroom channel. And I now have, I've got a lot of the classes that I do buy. And in fact, I'm right now working on channel back chairs where I haven't done it before. I mean, I did, but I did not understand. I just kind of copied the patterns before. Okay. Now I followed what Cynthia has been teaching. And I mean, she tells you why and, what to do. And it's wonderful. And I really miss that.
It's going right back to what you and I were saying earlier. If you're challenged with the why, if you're just copying something and you're doing it because it's there in front of you, not understanding why it's necessary to do something a certain way, like flipping curves or whatever it happens to be. Once you know why you're supposed to do it, I think it becomes more a part of our overall understanding of our craft, but also it becomes part of our professionalism.
Yes, exactly.
And having someone teach us in a way that explains the why to us, because it then translates into other projects. I mean, channel back chairs are very specific, but if you're working on something else that even slightly resembles it, you're like, oh, if I try this, this will work. So that's invaluable as well. Okay, so I interrupted you. the funky little chair videos that are now on the Workroom channel. Is there anything else?
Yes. I mean, I have bought, for a long time, people would recommend books in the different Facebook groups, and I would buy them. And every once in a while I would look at them, but I'm a visual learner. And so I need that, to either work it through in my head or watch somebody else do it.
Okay. So those visual classes are really helpful.
Oh, they are. Yes. And just not for the upholstery, but for also, Susan Woodcock's videos are on there. Ann Johnson, Elke. I mean, all of them. I learn bits and pieces and take away from those.
Okay. Marianne, do you use much technology in your business?
Yes.
What is your favorite technology to use in your business?
Well, let's see. I have switched now from paper to, it's called a Remarkable 2. And it's a writing tab. I absolutely love that because I hacked into it and I'm able to download my forms that I've created and use, and am able to, take my measurements, all that. Okay. So yeah, that's been my biggest one, is the Remarkable 2.
Okay. What 3 business items could you not live without in your business?
My laptop, my computer, my sewing machines, and my table.
Okay. So I'm curious, for someone who's starting to get into the window treatments, is your table a big table? Have you had to make any adaptations now that you're working on window treatments?
So when I first started, my dad and I made the table. I went on to Rowley and got the plans for it. And my dad and I built this together. So very precious. My dad's 85, and I'm very grateful that I still have him in my life.
That's wonderful.
Because he's helped me out a lot on things. So we built this table together. And at the time, I made it 12 foot. So I had plenty of room for longer drapes. And then I also, I had an extension, and I did a job where the draperies came up short as far as the pleats. They wouldn't close all the way. So I got so frustrated. I said, okay, I hate drapery. I'm not going to do them again. I cut my table down. When I moved here to my new building, I cut my table down and I thought, okay, I'm not going to do this. And then that's when the lady had passed away, and more and more people were asking, do you do draperies? And I revisited. So I've got 2 extensions for it now. The lady who passed away, all of her work tables are still in her, where her business was. There's a furniture store below it, and the second floor was her workroom, and her children just left all that stuff. So the owner of the furniture store says, please come take whatever you need, whatever you want. I have to dump it. I mean, there's a backlit table, there's workstations, there were cubicles, just so much. And I've taken what I can for now.
Okay.
But there are a couple big tables that I do want to grab from them.
That would be wonderful. Yeah. I find that's probably one of the biggest differences in someone who focuses on upholstery versus someone who focuses on window treatments is the table height and the surface of the table and everything else. So I was curious what you were doing with that. Okay. We've sort of established that you are not upholstering for pleasure because you've got all of your projects that are unfinished. With the sewing, do you do any sewing for pleasure?
Yes, I do. Okay. So I have a vintage trailer that I refurbished myself. I took it all the way down to the frame. It was a rare one, and I was given it free. So during COVID, I was able to take it all the way down to the frame, repair the frame, and then make it inside how I wanted it. So I did make cushions for it. I've made curtains and quilts and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'll do that on occasion. Okay. Other than that, I have upholstered chairs for myself. I'm going to reslip cover a sofa that I have. So, okay. But that's about it.
Okay.
I stopped doing clothing just because it's not fun anymore.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because there's so many different things that we can sew
Mhm.
that I have found the things I don't enjoy anymore, I'm really just not making the time for. It's just like,
Exactly.
well,
Yes,
too many other
exactly.
things I want to make.
Okay.
What is your favorite thing to make?
Um,
Or I should say, or do, since I don't know. Yes, upholstery is making. Um,
what is my favorite thing to do? Wow, I like it all. I mean, I like it all.
okay, that's a great answer. I like that.
Yeah.
What do you do extremely well?
Um, hmm. Make a mess of things. I can mess up my shop better than anybody else in the world. Trust me.
Do you like a clean shop before you start a project, or are
I
you
don't have time. A clean shop is a luxury to me. I
okay?
I have thought about hiring someone and coming in and cleaning my shop, but it's like I just don't have the time. I sometimes I will force myself. Like right now, it's gotten too. I've got too many bolts of fabric, and I do need to stop and clean. So
Okay, but it's not part of your process on a regular basis. Okay,
no,
what do you not do so well, Marianne?
clean.
So you're making a mess, but you're not great at cleaning up.
Sometimes time management and cleaning.
Okay. Okay. A lot of us struggle with time management. I wish that was something that was easier to teach or grasp or whatever. I don't know what it is. I think we're all so good at saying yes, and I can fit that in, and then we actually go to work on it and go, oh,
I'm listening. I'm listening to an audiobook. God, I can't think of the name of it. Oh shoot! But he talks about um, a gentleman who.
you can look it up. I can edit this.
Okay, yeah. Let me get because changing your paradigm. Yeah, change your life. Change about your paradigm. And in it, he talks. It's Robert. Let's see, Bob Proctor. Yeah, change your paradigm, change your life is the name of it.
Okay.
And in it, he's talking about a gentleman that he met that just seemed to have everything that just flowed so well. And
Okay.
he asked him, okay, what was your secret? And he goes, I write down everything that I need to do the night before. And I have that list and I reread it. And then, so then when the next day comes, he's going through that list.
Okay. Is it that simple, Marianne? Is it?
I don't know. I'm still just listening to it. I'm going to try to apply it, so we'll see.
Please get back to me and let me know if it's
I
that
will.
simple.
Exactly. I know. Exactly.
That simple, but if it works, please let me know.
I will, because it sure sounded great when I was listening to it.
I hope it is.
Yeah.
What do you like best about, I want to say this business, but you are extended into two different parts of the industry, both overall, with the work that you are currently doing, what do you love best?
I love being able to work with the people,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, meeting my customers, whether it be for draperies or for upholstery, and discussing the whole process of it. Just going out and meeting them, seeing their homes is just amazing. Um, and then the people that like at the furniture, I work with two different furniture stores now, and going in there and working with them and having them refer me. It just I love the process.
Okay. What do you like least about it?
Nothing.
That's awesome. I love
No,
that.
there's nothing that I no there's nothing that I don't like about it.
Okay. Miriam, what about you? What surprised people?
I'm a fabric hoarder.
Okay.
And I know I'm not, this is a no joke. I have been hoarding fabric since I was younger. I see a pretty piece of fabric and I'll buy it. I may not do anything with it. I've held on to one piece since I was 18 years old when I worked at Beverly Fabrics. It was just this gorgeous piece of fabric. It was so expensive. I took just one paycheck and I bought it and I still have it today. I've never done anything with it. But I mean, I have just way too much fabric.
You are not alone with that.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think probably that would surprise a lot of people about how much fabric someone not always readily open to be seen.
I know. Yeah. Oh no, people, they come in here and they can see it.
Okay. There is something about, there are places in my workroom where I have put things, I am an out of sight, out of mind person, and it does not work in my favor. And when I first redid my workroom, I did get rid of a lot of things that I didn't need. And over the years, I have learned to give away some of the fabric, but I did open a bin the other day and go, oh,
That's where that's at.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
something with that fabric.
Oh yeah, I have, and there are times, I mean, I can get rid of stuff. I had a friend that when I first started was all vintage and she ended up moving to Hawaii. And so all of the stuff that I had accumulated, I had one big giant shelf for all of her stuff. I tossed it because I'm not going to use it. And actually I donated. I should say I didn't toss it. I donated it to school. So for kids projects.
For the shipping to go to Hawaii, that's for sure.
No, that's too expensive.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Marianne, in what ways do you think you're resilient?
I don't let things bother me. I mean, in the beginning I did, but now, like I said, I turned everything into a learning experience.
Okay.
And I don't look at it as, oh my God, I'm going to lose so much money on this. It's what am I learning from this?
Okay. That's a really wonderful trait to have. And I hear it sometimes. I don't hear it all the time. Some of us just are such perfectionists that we can't get the lesson out of it, that we just keep beating ourselves up over it.
And trust me, in the beginning I did, but maybe maybe wisdom is coming with age, is that I'm just learning that it's not worth it.
Okay.
You know, I've had 4 customers pass away in the last 2 months.
Oh my goodness.
One of them was my same age, and I was over at his house, and we knew each other in high school, but didn't keep in touch.
Mm-hmm.
I was over there measuring for a job, and then the next day I get this phone call saying, "Hey, were you doing anything for Mike?" And he just had a heart attack and passed away.
Oh.
And it was like, it shook me. It really shook me. So yeah, things are just, you never know.
So you had seen him the day before when you were measuring?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Really upsetting. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that wasn't, I mean, he's been that was the last person, but there were 3 other customers that I had just finished up their jobs. And it was a husband, another lady, and the other one was, her husband as well. So it's tough.
Yeah, but that will keep your perspective in the right place when you realize things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Marianne, I know that you were on Facebook. Are you also on Instagram?
I am. Yes, I am on Instagram. I just haven't been posting because I've been so busy.
Okay. But it's
I'm trying to go. Yeah, I am on TikTok, but I just deleted the app because I find myself watching that too much. So I delete it.
Okay.
So yeah, Instagram and Facebook.
I'll put links to your accounts in the show notes if people want to get a hold of you.
Okay.
So to wrap up, I do want to ask if you could give someone new in the business or someone who's been in the business a while some advice.
Reach out to somebody who, look through their social media accounts and pick out somebody who you want to follow, somebody who you feel that you like their work, and reach out to them and ask them questions, because don't be afraid to, because a lot of times they're more than willing to help. They're willing to answer those questions and help further you along in what you are doing.
I think that's great advice. And I'm seeing that positive response even more. It's always been a part of the window treatment side. It's been now in upholstery because of people like Cynthia and Lindsay Orwig and all of the people who are monitoring the Professional Upholsterers Network on Facebook, and the National Upholstery Association. That idea, and Kim, I mean, she started a whole business based on that. But
exactly, yes.
15 years ago, that was not the case in upholstery, and I'm seeing more and more of it. And if you reach out to one person and the answer is no, find another person, because
exactly, yes, exactly, yeah. Because I know a lot of the people from 20 years ago are retiring. I mean, that's around in my area. I'm in Lodi. I'm basically it.
Okay.
And so I know that, in those people who are retiring, those old ways are retiring as well.
Which is good. Marianne, thank you so much for giving me your time and allowing me to get to know you a little bit better. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I do love hearing about and understanding the differences in our businesses, because we have so many options as to how we can run our business, what products we want to produce, what kind of services we want to offer our clients. And I love what Marianne has done, that she has stepped into the window treatment segment of our industry, but is still working on the upholstery part of it. She really is a one-stop shop for people now, and I think that's fantastic. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Marianne today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day.